The enormity of Martina Navratilova's career places her atop the list when tennis historians debate which player is the best of all time. When one of her closest competitors, Billie Jean King, said that Navratilova is the greatest singles, doubles, and mixed doubles player who ever lived, it's hard not to take those words at face value. It's not that Martina Navratilova does not have competitors in Billie Jean King, Helen Wills, Margaret Court, Chris Evert, Steffi Graf, and Serena Williams, but statistically, Martina Navratilova is off the charts. Since 1968, when the Open era in tennis began, no male or female player won more singles tournaments than Navratilova, 167, doubles events, 177, or matches, 2189. Martina Navratilova felt the ping of defeat a meager 219 times in singles matches in a career that began in 1975. She was still active in 2006 when she won the mixed doubles championship at the US Open only a month away from her 50th birthday, becoming the oldest player in history to win a major title. Opponents who faced Navratilova in singles play stood a scant 13% chance of winning, the left-handed athlete winning 87% of her matches. In doubles competition, Navratilova was 747 wins to 143 defeats and 84% winning percentage. Navratilova won 18 major singles titles, but only 3 of them came before her 25th birthday. 31 major titles were captured in women's doubles and another 10 in mixed doubles. Her 59 major championships ranks second all time, only behind Margaret Court's 64 major titles. The left-handed Martina Navratilova won a record 9 Wimbledon ladies singles championships, and 6 of them were won consecutively from 1982 to 1987, surpassing Suzanne Lenglen's record of 5 straight Wimbledon championship victories from 1919 to 1923. Facing Navratilova on grass was a dicey proposition. She was 120 wins to 14 defeats at Wimbledon, won 305 total matches and 47 consecutive WTA encounters from 1985 to 1987. Those who thought indoor conditions might be more favorable would be sadly mistaken. From 1986 to 1987, she won 48 consecutive times on carpet and tallied 516 wins in her career. Navratilova won a record 8 WTA Tour Championships from 1978 to 1986 and appeared in a record 25 WTA Tour Championship finals from 1975 to 1992. She was 8 wins to 6 defeats in singles and a perfect 11 wins to no defeats in doubles at the year-end championships. Navratilova appeared in 32 major singles finals and in cumulative major competition won 306 times. When she defeated Chris Evert at the 1983 US Open 6-1, 6-3, Navratilova became only the 7th female player in history to earn a career Grand Slam in singles. There were still 26 years remaining in her illustrious career. In 1980, she teamed with American Betsy Nagelson to win the Australian Open doubles title, earning a career Grand Slam in that category, becoming the 8th female player in history to record this feat. Even rarer, in 1984, Navratilova and Pam Shriver became the only women's doubles team in history to win the coveted calendar year Grand Slam. But she wasn't done just yet. At the 2003 Australian Open, she partnered with Leander Paes of India to win the mixed doubles crown, and she became the 4th female player in history to win a career Grand Slam in mixed doubles as well. The culmination of this massive amount of championships on tennis's biggest worldwide stages earned her major championships in all 3 events, joining Margaret Court as the only player in the Open era to hold this distinction. Martina Navratilova bulldozed and mowed down opponents in historical proportions. In 1984, she won a record 74 straight matches in a row, a streak that began in February at the US Indoor Championships and did not end until December at the Australian Open, when Helena Sukova rallied from a set down to defeat Navratilova 1-6, 6-3, 1-6, 6-3, 7-5 in the semifinals. She won 13 consecutive WTA singles titles, that year, highlighting a career in which she won at least one WTA singles title 21 consecutive times from 1974 to 1994. Navratilova's dominating play led her to win 58 consecutive matches from 1986 to 1987, 54 consecutive matches from 1983 to 1984, and 41 consecutive matches in 1982. No matter where Navratilova was playing, she throttled her competition. She captured the now defunct Virginia Slims of Chicago a record 12 times and lost only one set in the process. At the Eastbourne International Tournament held in the UK, Navratilova won 11 times, dropping only 3 sets. Navratilova seemingly appeared on the professional tour out of thin air, said Evert following a 7-6, 6-3 victory over Navratilova in an Akron, Ohio tournament. It was a close match. Even though I had never heard of her and could not pronounce or spell her name, I could tell she'd be trouble. Truer words have never been spoken. In her career, Navratilova was ranked in the world top 10 in singles 19 years, from 1976 to 1994, including 5 consecutive years at number 1, from 1982 to 1986. She spent a massive total of 332 weeks at the number 1 spot and was ranked number 1 in doubles 237 weeks, 191 of them being consecutive. Navratilova's doubles partnership with Pam Shriver garnered 20 major titles. Her 31 total women's doubles titles in 37 finals is another milestone in a dizzying list of all-time records. Navratilova was born Martina Subertova in Czechoslovakia and took the name of her stepfather Navratil, adding the ova as the female distinction. She began playing tennis at the age of 4. In 1972, at age 15, she won the Czechoslovakian National Tennis Championship and a year later was competing on the tour, though she did not turn professional until 1975. Navratilova defected to the United States in 1976 and became a US citizen 5 years later. Navratilova won her first major title in doubles with Evert at the 1975 French Open. She advanced to the singles championship in Paris against Evert that year, falling 2-6, 6-2, 6-1 in what would become one of sport's greatest rivalries. The duo would face each other a record 80 times, Navratilova holding the overall edge 43-37 in her favor, and 61 times in tournament finals, where Evert held the edge 36-25. Evert defeated Navratilova in 21 of their first 25 matches, but Navratilova defeated Evert at Wimbledon in 1978, which was her first major singles title, winning 2-6, 6-4, 7-5. Navratilova also defeated Evert at Wimbledon in 1979, 1982, 1984 and 1985. Navratilova defeated Evert at the Australian Open in 1981 and 1985, at the French Open in 1984 and at the US Open in 1983. Chris Evert earned victories against Navratilova at the French Open in 1975, 1985 and 1986 and at the Australian Open in 1982. Navratilova, who made diet, fitness and strength a priority in her training once she disbanded her Americanization period of fast food eating habits, dominated the 1980s with a relentless serve and volley game. Always athletic, Navratilova became the strongest women's player on tour and from 1980 until 1987 flexed her muscles by winning 14 major singles titles in 20 championship match opportunities. Navratilova's 1982 and 1983 tour seasons were especially prolific, going 90 wins to 3 defeats and 86 wins to 1 defeat respectively. The only loss in 1983 coming to Kathy Horvath in the 4th round of the French Open. The 1983 campaign was earned at a 98.9 winning percentage, the best in history, and she won 15 of 18 tournaments in 1982 and 16 of 17 in 1983. That magical 1983 season saw the beginning of a 109-match doubles winning streak alongside Shriver. From 1983 to 1984, Navratilova played in 23 consecutive singles finals. Navratilova's toughest opponent in major singles finals was Steffi Graf, who defeated her in 4 of 6 meetings in 1987 French Open, 1988 and 1989 Wimbledon, and 1989 US Open. Navratilova prevailed against Steffi Graf at the 1987 Wimbledon and the US Open that same year, her 4th and final title at Flushing Meadows. It wasn't until her 11th appearance in New York that Navratilova claimed a US Open championship. Her victory in 1983 over Evert 6-1, 6-3, beginning a string of 5 straight championship match appearances, 4 of which were victorious. Navratilova successfully defended her title in 1984 over Evert again. A bid for a third straight in 1985 was halted by Hana Mandalikova, but the Czech American was back in championship form the following 2 years, winning the 1986 title easily over Sukova and in 1987 over Steffi Graf. In head-to-head competition against Steffi Graf, Navratilova won 9 out of the 18 matches, so Steffi Graf and Navratilova were tied at 9-9. Navratilova entered Australian singles draw just 10 times, winning thrice in 1981 and 1985 over Evert and in 1983 over Kathy Jordan. Raised on clay courts, Navratilova won the 1982 French Open over pig-tailed Andrea Jaeger and in 1984 over Chris Evert. She was a 4-time finalist in Paris. Her Fed Cup career boasted near-perfect performances, going 20 wins to no defeats in singles and 20 wins to 1 defeat in doubles, playing for both Czechoslovakia and the United States of America. Martina was distinguished as the WTA's Tour Player of the Year 7 times and named the Female Athlete of the Year by the Associated Press in 1983 and 1986. In ESPN's critically acclaimed Sports Century series, Navratilova ranked number 19 on the list of the top 100 North American athletes of the 20th century. Following her retirement from playing, Navratilova became a respected commentator and advocate for the sport. As one of the first openly gay sports figures, she has been a vocal advocate for equal rights and a strong supporter of many charities benefiting the LGBT community.